Hello and welcome back to It Was a Square with Sean.
And Brooke.
You're now listening to two recently remarried people. Again, very exciting. We got to spend the past week with friends and family. We're not going to get into it, but while we were there, I thought it'd be great to show Brooke a movie that my whole family loves and has grown up with. It's in the title, so I'm not going to keep you all in suspense. It's Dumb and Dumber. And we love it so much that...
Your family.
My family. That we were watching just home videos a year ago. And my dad, my sisters are doing something strange on the camera. And my dad behind the camera says, "Strange and stranger," referring to my two sisters. And my eldest brother, who at the time was 12 or 13, not really sure, and I, in 2020, we simultaneously say, "Oh, like Dumb and Dumber."
I have obviously heard of it, and I'd seen a couple scenes, independent from the entire movie. I was obviously familiar with, the tuxes, because, you go to prom or whatever, and there's always two dudes in an orange tux and a light powder blue tux, so...
Two of my previous roommates were those people.
Yep. So you just know.
Yeah.
But yes, not very familiar with it, and that's normally not a genre of movie I'm super interested in.
Mm-hmm.
But I was glad I got to see what all the fuss was about.
Yeah. So last week, we didn't end up being able to see it with my family. Turns out when you are planning and getting married, you're a lot more busy than time would allow.
We did watch a lot of animal documentaries, though.
That's true. Mostly for the kids, but we were all watching it too, for sure.
Even after the kids went to bed, we were all
just... watching elephants. So for me, it's hard taking notes for this movie without just writing down the jokes that happen one by one. I will say, though, this movie is very quotable, and my family loves to quote movies. And another series of films we quote all the time are the Austin Powers movies. And yeah, those are incredibly quotable. But for every great quote, you have to sit through 5 or so scenes of just real, weird, uncomfortable stuff. So for every Michael Caine saying, "There are 2 things I hate in this world, those that discriminate against others and their cultures, and the Dutch," is hilarious. And then there's some terrible, if you've seen it, the Japanese twins, is just so uncomfortable and you just kind of want to skip it.
I also haven't seen those movies, so I don't really...
Yeah.
We do have a new favorite quote, kind of, from that movie. Last week, Sean introduced me. You do it, because you're better.
We were just driving.
And we forgot games.
Yeah, we were going to bring games to Utah to play with my family. Some board games. And we just forgot them all. And I, lamented and I said, "I love games." Which is a quote from the third one where Michael Myers says, "I love gold." But the reason I bring that up is because I think Dumb and Dumber is not that. Everything is quotable and it's funny to sit by and watch and just experience.
My opinion of the movie, hopefully you and your family still like me, but there's a lot of potty humor, which, every movie, one or 2 jokes is fine, but I feel like especially the first half of the movie is pure potty humor. I don't like that. It's just childish to me. These are the notes I have. Some things are funny. And the next line, "It's gross." And then the next line, "Some things are funny." So I obviously thought some things were funny.
Yeah.
The glove scene, it's getting nippy. Yeah, there are definitely some really funny scenes there.
Mm-hmm.
But the more potty humor there is in a movie, the lower it scores on my list of things that I want to watch again.
Interesting.
Yes. I did realize that my 7th grade science teacher is one of my favorite teachers ever. And he ended up being the dean of students at my high school. super awesome guy. Every time I go back to my high school, we always like get in touch. But I remember in that class we were talking about breeding and genetics, and he was giving some examples, and he goes, you breed a bulldog and a shih tzu and you get, well, and he obviously stole that from Dumb and Dumber, and it took me many years later to realize that. So that was kind of fun just to hear that, like, oh hey, Mr. Parentoni.
Like rewatching it this recently, because I haven't seen this movie in 6-7 years, I realize how many things people say, like, just in passing in life, that's from this movie. So I'm like, oh wow, like this came from that, this came from that, this came from that. Now I want to enter into the part of the podcast where I list things that Brooke called right before they happened. So, I don't have the actor's name pulled up, but the bad guy, I don't remember the character's name. He walks on the screen, I go, look at his dumb suit, and Brooke goes, he's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. When the crook who killed the parakeet.
Oh, yeah, that was really sad.
One of the funniest lines in the movie. Our pet's heads are falling off!
Yeah. Ooh,
They,
Jeff Daniels has aged.
Yeah, he's in The Martian.
Oh, and so has Jim Carrey.
It's James Carrey now.
It would be.
It's not.
I know, but it could be.
When the crook and Lloyd and Harry are all eating in that diner and they, pull a prank, put the peppers in his burger, he takes a bite, his ulcer bursts, and he's like, give me my pills. Brooke calls, they're going to give him the rat poison. That's also in his jacket pocket. At the gas station, Harry spills a bit of gas on the ground because he's flirting with that one woman. And Brooke calls, something's going to catch on fire.
To be fair, though, I thought it was going to be the car.
Yeah.
Also, in that scene, I would just like to add, Lloyd did not flush the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first note I have.
Yeah, that one random thug from Pennsylvania, Ohio area traveled all the way to just outside Colorado.
Yeah.
But it's okay. And this one I barely put down that Lloyd kills an owl, because it was literally like happening at that moment. Like he pops the cork and it's flying through the air, and Brooke says, I was going to kill an owl. But you did call, so it's there. And the final one is that you called that the briefcase is going to be empty. Though it isn't, but you're right. That there is an IOU.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. At which point you start to try and guess anything and everything that happens for the rest of the movie, because you notice that I write it down every time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even the first one, when the guy walked in the room and I was like, he's the bad guy, Sean just like slowly reaches over and gets his notepad and just like starts writing it down, and I was like, okay, so I'm right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they were all pretty, except for the first one, like pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So just like kind of predictable.
Mm-hmm. It's just setting it up.
Yeah.
And the fact that it happens isn't the funny part. I think it's how they react and how it,
For sure.
and how they go through it.
We've made that drive across the country.
Yeah. Not quite from Rhode Island, but
Yeah, from
I-80 going west for 20 hours, 20 plus.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun to be like, we've seen those plains of nothingness that they're showing.
I thought the Rocky Mountains would be more mountainous.
Yeah. The other thing that we related to was, your hands are freezing. And that's just us. Like, anytime I touch Sean, it is shocking how warm he is and how cold I am.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I touch him, you're freezing. Why are you freezing? What are you doing?
Context is you almost always have 1 to 2 blankets, and you're normally wearing a sweater and pants and everything you need to do to be warm, and yet you just touch the back of my hand and I whip it away from you because it is shocking how cold you are.
Yeah. Today
seems impossible.
Yeah. Today at church we had like a get to know you game, and they told us to pick a dessert that described your personality, and I picked ice cream because we are both always cold. That was my reasoning.
Oh, you and ice cream.
Also, it's the best, but
Ice cream's pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, But that's why I picked it, is because we're both always cold.
Before we watched this, I'd already decided to show this weeks ago. Before we did the Matilda episode, just weeks and weeks ago, I decided to do this. But in preparation for this, I was getting excited for it, and I started remembering a bunch of quotes. And the other day, I cooked something, can't remember what it was, and I was going to quote one of my favorite lines where Harry says to Lloyd, "Just when I thought you couldn't get any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself." So good. I yelled that while I was still eating, and as I said, redeem or whatever the word was, food shot out of my mouth. And I was like, totally redeem. Okay. And then I picked it up and went away ashamed. But
it was very funny.
It was good. I love that line.
Yeah. Like I said, there are definitely funny parts.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go through your favorite bits?
The, going up the mountain on the motorcycle.
It's a bit nippy through that pass there.
Yeah.
So, I was almost cry laughing at that. And I've seen that line and I knew it was coming, but it's still so funny.
Yeah. I also thought, the hands are freezing just because it was, relatable.
Mm-hmm. Here, you can have my extra set of gloves. My hands are actually getting a little sweaty here.
Yeah.
You had extra gloves the whole time? So there is a Dumb and Dumber prequel without Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. And there's a sequel that came out 5 years ago. I don't really remember. It's called Dumb and Dumber 2. T-O instead of T-W-O. I will not be showing you those. They do not live up to Dumb and Dumber Prime.
Sad.
All right, well, that wraps it up. It's a bit of a short one this time, but it was a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad that I got to see it so I can understand your quotes now.
Yeah. We just gotta rewatch Drowning Mona.
Mm-hmm.
Drowning Mona, if you haven't seen it, find it, watch it. It's so good. Okay.
You said ovaries?
You said overalls? Okay. It's good. Do you know what you're gonna do next week?
I do not.
Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do know what I'm doing. I'm going to show you a movie that I grew up watching, and I think it will be pretty hilarious to compare to Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. That's funny. Is it going to be like that Baby Genius movie?
No, it's going to be My Fair Lady.
Oh, with Audrey Hepburn? Okay.
Yep.
She watched that just this last week.
Yeah. And I have one of my first memories of watching a movie is watching My Fair Lady with my mom while she ironed.
Wow.
So.
One of my first memories of watching a movie is Spider-Man 1 in the theaters. I was so excited, fell asleep immediately.
Oh.
I had to have been, I think 3 or 4 maybe. I think 3.
The first time I have a memory of going to the theater was the first Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 5. But I know that I went to movies when I was younger because I yelled at them. You've heard that story, right?
I don't think I have.
My family I think I was 2, maybe 3. My family took me to watch Mighty Joe Young. And
Classic.
I love animals. I've always loved animals, so my parents were going to take me to watch this animal movie. Anyway, at the end, he's running for his life. And it's a really intense moment. And they get him 2 or 3.
You're crying right now.
No, I'm not. And I just stand up and go, "Run, Joe, run!" in the middle of the theater. And everybody cracks up and laughs. And, yeah, so I don't remember that, but I think that was one of the first movies. And then I think afterwards I was told some movie theater courtesy. I wasn't in trouble, yeah. But
I'm sure everyone's like, "Oh, how precious."
Yeah, very funny.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I will cut it there. Hopefully we can get 20 minutes.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, coming back in.
I would put this at the beginning.
I don't think I have the technical capability to do so. We finished, along with everyone else in the world, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Or I guess they call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier now. It was good. The finale was fine. I'm glad that Kurt Russell's son was redeemed.
Walker?
Yeah, John Walker.
Yeah.
The
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell. Thank you. You know all the names.
I'm good with names.
He was redeemed, and I really like that. I liked his character. I love Kurt Russell, so that kind of extends to his son a little bit.
Yeah, you didn't. I feel like you didn't really like him, and then you found out he was Kurt Russell's son, and then you were all about him.
Yeah, that's so true. That's like episode 4. I think I found out is Wyatt Russell.
We found out
last week. Yeah. So that was after I watched episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, this dude sucks. He's Wyatt Russell? Okay, I like him.
Yeah, immediate just total switch.
Yeah, I'm glad he was redeemed. I kind of bought it. I liked the show. My one issue with it is the villains felt weak. Their motives were... Yeah, their motives were all over the place. They always talked about how they had this huge global following, but it always felt like a group of, 6, 7 people who constantly had to be, like, spurred on to follow their leader, who is a bit of a sociopath, Carly. The whole time, I just didn't buy them. I just didn't feel like it was enough.
Yeah, and also I felt like her whole group was ready to walk out on her. Like, every episode.
Yeah. They always need to be bolstered, like...
Yeah.
One world, one people, like, just every time. And I feel like they're just a pin drop away from it all falling apart. So that was my big issue. I loved the Isaiah Bradley stuff. I thought that was well handled. And, like, it was I bought it. I feel like I'm going to say that a lot. Like, his turn to being, like, less bitter towards just everything. Like, yeah. I trusted that. I loved Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan's performances. They were easily the highlight of the show behind Wyatt Russell. No, Wyatt Russell's not that good. But, yeah, it ended well. I liked it. I'm excited for what's coming new or next.
It ended cleanly.
Agreed,
and I love that. I
but
like closure on all accounts, and it had that. So.
It still did build some stuff up. Like, Sharon Carter is now... pardoned, but still has some shady stuff going on. Maybe she's the next villain.
But I didn't really ever care about her. Like, she was always just kind of there on the side.
Agreed.
Like, I wanted Carly gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we mentioned this in the podcast before, but, like, wanting justice, like, that's part of my, like, Enneagram personality is, like, if someone does something bad, it is so in me to be like, they need the consequences for that. So, like, Carly was the villain, so she needed the consequences, which happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the villains, except for Sharon, were taken care of.
Very nice.
Oh, so, like, that's more of what's important to me. It's just, like, bad guys, taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Good guys, friends. Like,
yeah.
That's all I need.
Yeah. I will say the whole series, I loved Baron Zemo.
Yeah, he was fun.
And Civil War, top 3 favorite Marvel movie for me. It goes back and forth, but I love him in that. He's a man on a mission. He's so solemn and somber, and he just gets what he has to do done. And in this show, he's having fun, and I liked that about him. Like, he's dancing, he's just going around wearing fun little coats.
Creepily singing nursery rhymes to children.
Ba ba black sheep.
Yeah, super eerie.
That was cut in. No. Just good all around, and I loved his dynamic with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I liked his story where Winter Soldier didn't kill him, and he's just in the raft, but he's still pulling strings with the oldest butler in the world, doing that for him. And I like how when everyone's fighting to get him, he kind of just casually walks away, closes the doors, is out of there.
Yeah. This doesn't involve me.
And I'm so happy he didn't betray his whole character arc, where all of those vials of super soldier serum fell on the floor. I thought for a second, I was like, oh, if he picks those up, that doesn't make any sense. But nope, he stayed true, crushed them all but one. And that was good.
Yeah, and he thought he crushed them. Oh.
Yeah. And that left room for U.S. Agent, which I'm also excited for. Because Wyatt Russell's staying in the universe, which is good, and he's good now. Like he might be doing some shady stuff with Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Woman. You looking it up? Yeah. Who is clearly the most villainous woman in the entire
world.
Yeah, but yeah, again, I liked it. My few issues were
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, just my few issues with it were just the villains, but the action was good to great, and the story was phenomenal, but the characters were the selling point for sure. As far as other things we're watching, I'm watching Invincible. The last episode was great. I'm very excited for the coming episode. I've been waiting for this the whole time. For those that watch it on Amazon, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, last week's episode, just constant action. What happened was Omni-Man was on his way to meet his son, and like the Global Defense Agency was throwing everything they have in their back pocket to slow him down or stop him, and he just tears through it all, and it's just 40 minutes of awesome action. Other than that, we're still tearing through MasterChef.
I will say this, and it happens with every competition show, where you have like a good thing going, you know, season, and then after a while, they start to make changes. And I understand that, you know, they're trying to mix it up a little bit to make it less predictable or whatever, but after a while, it just isn't good. Like
Yeah.
right now, I don't even know what season we're on.
I think 8 or 9.
But they're making it into like teams and mentors and
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of Survivor, like the first, I don't know, 8 or 9 seasons, just you go out, you survive, you vote someone off, you have challenges, you move on. And you compare that to like season 35, where there's 6 different kinds of hidden immunity idol, and there's hidden immunity idol nullifiers, and like
there's the island that when you're voted
Redemption
off,
Island, or just it's gotten to be a lot.
Yeah.
I love Survivor, one of my all-time favorite shows growing up, but like just this most recent season 40, where they also have like tokens that they can use to buy stuff. It's all over the place. I say strip it back just a little bit. I like the hidden immunity idols.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, like
take it back.
Some things are good. Like
Yeah.
the additions are like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, it just morphs into something else. I didn't really watch. I watched like 2 seasons of American Idol because my best friend watched it. But if I were to just what I've seen from it now, I don't even think I would really recognize the show.
Oh yeah.
And like I remember also watching like America's Next Top Model growing up, and I like saw that it was on Netflix, and I was like, oh, that'll be like nostalgic for me. I made it 3 minutes in. It was so terrible. I mean, I don't know. Just
Yeah. Remember when we were dating and we would watch Project Runway all the time?
yeah. I think that too.
I think it holds up. It's a fun show.
No, the newest season.
I just mean the stuff that I watched.
Oh yeah. So yeah, when we were dating, I was watching Project Runway, and therefore Sean was watching Project
Yeah.
Runway. But he got, I mean, not like
I
super
was-
into it.
Yeah,
but
I was trying to be interested.
I think you were a little interested.
Yeah, I was.
So, but yeah, I just don't like when shows do that. Like, keep it classic. Like, one show I love is Chopped. That's like a family show for us. In case you can't tell, my family is really into cooking shows.
Cooking shows and game shows.
Yes. More so my parents are into game shows, but mostly my
Jeopardy.
mom. Oh, that's true. I do like Jeopardy. But everybody likes Jeopardy. But yeah, Chopped, I don't know how many seasons there are. Many. I grew up watching it. I could turn it on today. It'll be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I'll see if I can squeeze this in the beginning. If not, though, goodbye.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
See you next week.